All right. Hello, everyone. Kyle A0Z. Welcome to the new CW Operators Roundtable. We do this every other Monday night at 8 p.m. Central. And tonight we have Lidi KQ3Q on the program. We're going to talk to her about her journey, and I actually learned a few things about her in the last 15 minutes that I think are fascinating. So we're going to talk to her about her journey into CW and give some tips and tricks on getting on the air. Hello, everyone, to the chat. You want to put in the chat hello and maybe where you're from, maybe how long you've been doing CW. Might get some chat going here in the on the stream. But as I go around the room here, hello, Vince. How are you?
I am wonderful, and good after evening, noon. How are you?
Good, good. Who else do we have? Katie. Hello, Katie. How are you?
I'm pretty good.
Good. And we got TJ. Hello.
How's it going? Doing fantastic. Ready for some Morse code excitement and discussion tonight?
Yeah, we haven't seen you in a while. You're back with some power here.
Back with some power. 100 watts.
And we got Tim. Tim, fresh off a summit, maybe. Where did I see you spotted today?
Not today. Two summits over the past couple days in the weekend, but we can get into that later.
Gotcha. All right, good deal. And then Evan. Hello, Evan.
What's going on, man? Good to be back.
Evan posting shorts about some crazy concert that he went to.
Yeah, man, Gorilla Biscuits. It was awesome. It was a no barricade show. You could get right up to the band. It was epic.
You saw Gorilla Biscuits?
Oh,
man.
Absolutely.
Go watch Evan's short. It's crazy. I thought stage diving was a thing of the 90s. It's not. It's back.
No, man.
It's
so
back.
Like I said, that was a no barricade show. I was literally, Civ was holding the mic into the crowd and we were singing it. It was epic.
Is it like that group on YouTube where they're like Taste the Biscuits?
No.
If you go on YouTube and look up Gorilla, they're an old school New York City hardcore band. So
I think Kyle's the only one that got that one.
Oh, I know exactly. That's my favorite group.
Come on, sing it, Kyle.
Anyway, hello, Lidi. How are you?
Good. Thank you for the invite.
You're welcome. Thanks for coming on the channel. Appreciate it. So typically what we do on the channel is we kind of just get right into it. You want to tell us about your ham radio experience? Like, how long have you been an operator, and how did you get into ham radio? Let's start there.
Well, my husband begged me to become a ham for 2 years.
Oh, it's your husband's fault.
It's my husband's fault. So he got licensed in 2020. And he kept begging and he kept asking to become licensed. I'm like, no, that's so boring. I don't want to do that. And I would hear him, well, he's mostly like a sandbagger. So he listens more than he talks.
Yeah.
So he kept asking, hey, you need to get licensed. You should get licensed, And I didn't like what I would hear on the repeaters because it was just UHF, VHF. And it's like, it was just a big drama going on my local repeater. It's just drama. It's like, I don't want to go with that drama. And it's like, sorry, but no. So he kept like pretty insistent, but I think he got tired of insisting. And then finally, I thought about it. I'm like, you know what? Why not? Let me just get licensed. So in 22, that's when I finally decided to get licensed. I got my technician, and then 4 weeks later, I got my general. But I didn't have an HF radio, so it was like having nothing. I'm like, okay, so we had to wait actually a whole year for personal reasons for me to get an HF radio. But eventually, I got on Echolink, where I met a wonderful net, and it's from India. And that's when I started, talking to other YLs about ham and learning more about it. And that was like the only way I would talk to other people. Yes, Echolink is not HF, it's true, but I was able to at least hear other YLs with the same common interest. A year later after that, that's when I decided to get my extra. And finally, I got a hold of my local radio club's Radio Shack, I actually got my first QSO on sideband. And that's when I decided to, okay, well, I think now we are able to purchase my HF radio. So my husband gifted me an Icom 7300 and an antenna, obviously. So that's when I finally got it. And so I've been like a ham for less than really a year. I mean, yes, I got licensed in 22, but finally I got on the air about a year ago. And that was it. That's when I actually became a ham, and my husband stayed as a technician, and I'm the one who's like really, I'm more like, yes, I want to do this, I want to do that, I want to do POD, I want to do field day, I want to do winter field day, and all these things, and so I'm more excited and I'm more like hyper about it, before, like, I don't want this, I don't want to talk to people. But then when I got my HF radio, and I finally went to the CW, to the dark side. And I loved it. When I heard those dits and dots, like they say, I thought it was music to my ears. So that's when I fell in love with it. And that was exactly a year ago, because I joined LACW for me to learn CW June 14th of 2023.
Yeah, so your club birthday is coming up soon.
Yes, I'm gonna make a big cake. I should get a cake with a Morse key.
So your husband is still a tech, and now you are hopefully dragging your husband up through, saying, "Hey, you need to go get your general," right?
Yes, all the guys in the radio club, when he goes, "Hey, what happened?"
Yeah, right.
Yes.
Someone in the chat said, "Oh, switcheroo Ken said talk about a switcheroo." Yeah, that's awesome. So you've been a ham since, or got your technician sometime in 2022, but then when did you get? Do you remember when you got your general a week later? Is that what I heard?
4 weeks later. So
Yeah. Oh,
I
4 weeks
wrote the
later.
dates. March 14th, I got my tech, and then April 8th, 2022, I got my general.
Gotcha.
I didn't have any HF radio for me to really get on the air, or I didn't have access to any rig. So I was stuck with Echolink in the meantime until a year later when I got my radio.
Yeah. So when did you made a single sideband contact, but then at some point you heard CW, and do you remember where you heard Morse code for the first time and said, "Hey, what is that?" and asked a bunch of questions and when was that? Do you remember?
Yeah, so when I would join this Indian net on Echolink, wonderful ladies. So, I would join them from Monday to Saturday as much as I could. And KD2GUT, Karen, would join the wild net every now and then, and she would talk so passionate about CW. I was like, oh, that sounds really interesting. But I've never really heard CW. But her passion really sold me. Like, okay, that's really good. And then there was another one, Alpha Lima 1 Golf. She would just talk about her contesting. That's what she does in CW contesting. So I was like, okay, well, that sounds interesting, but still, I didn't have an HF radio for me to really know anything about it.
Yeah.
And I didn't even Google it, or I didn't even go to YouTube to hear about it. It was until I got my rig in last year, May last year. And that's when I dialed, like, okay, let me finally hear what is this all about. So when I heard and all these little dits and dots, I got like, oh, this is so cool. Sounds like music to my ears. I love the rhythm of it. And it really attracted me. It's like I fell in love with it. And I remember hearing there's a specific sound. And like, oh, they're saying it again. Well, I'm not saying it, but I hear it again. And then seconds later, I hear it again. Well, later on, I learned that was 599.
Yeah.
So I would hear that 599. I didn't know at the time that it was 599, but it sounded so like the rhythm, like it really, really attracted me. And that's when I started searching online, how can I learn CW? How can I learn Morse code? And I came across, I remember with CW Ops,
Yeah.
but their schedule didn't fit my schedule. Because they have like, I forgot if you have to, I was August or September. I forgot they have like a schedule.
Yeah.
And
Yep.
you have to be there from whatever time to whatever time. I have young kids, so I didn't want to sign up to something that I was not going to be able to commit. So I wasn't sure if I was able to commit. So like, no, I can't. That's not going to work for me at that specific moment. So then I started searching, and then I come across with, Long Island CW Club. I'm like, oh, great. Oh, but I don't live in Long Island, it's like, oh, that's far. I mean, like, how can I, like, no, I can't, but that sounds cool. Then when I clicked it, online classes, that sounds like something that I think I can do as well, because as I started reading, they're more flexible, they have different classes and different so that fit my schedule. So I joined them, and good thing was I didn't have to physically be in Long Island. I was under that impression at the time that it's just Long Island, like physically you have to be there. But that's when I inquire. I actually sent a message to Karen, and she talked to me about it, and it really attracted me. I really liked what I heard about it, and then that's when I joined.
Yeah. So I had learned that Evan was talking about the time between starting maybe like your first class or learning your first letter and getting on the air. And Evan was saying it was insanely fast.
Yeah, she was faster than me. I mean, I joined LICW November 11th. I took my first class November 14th. I was on the air in late January. I'm pretty sure Lidi had me beat because she was on the air like that. It was insane. I remember I went from not even knowing who she was to hearing on the air in like a week. And she was in the Discord, the LICW Discord, on the LICW challenge every day. It was insane. So yeah, she was fast.
So when I joined, it took me about 3 weeks to get my first QSO contact, but it was like holding hands. It's like it's great. Not that I'm promoting LSCW, but I cannot not talk about it, because the class that I used to go to, and I still go to, because I really enjoy it. It's like get on the air class. So you have all these instructors and other students just like me, and we're trying to listen, each other. Let's see if I can hear you, you can hear me, so we can, I'll get on the air. And I know KB4QQJ, Randy, he's like, do you have a rig? Are you sitting next to it? Yeah. Okay. Tune into this and this and this, and let's see if I hear you, and let's get on. Like, let's do this.
Randy's in the chat right now.
Yeah,
so
Randy's in the chat. Yeah.
It's his fault. Well, he held my hand, and it's great because, they're holding your hand. So you feel like, okay, like a little kid, you're about to cross the street, looking left and right, and you feel really safe to make that first QSO. But it is really my test was not doing it with anybody. That was my test, really. I had to challenge myself. Okay, everybody has been helping me, and they've encouraged me tremendously. And it's great when you have someone who's just like, hey, you can do it, just do it, just get on the air, because that's what they keep telling you. But it's now calling CQ on your own, not anybody telling you, okay, get on this frequency and start calling CQ. And that was the day when I sweated, my heart was beating.
Oh yeah.
I was doing, but I did it, But yeah, that's one of those, it took me 3 weeks, but not that I was able to copy. That's a whole different story. I was able to send copy. It's a different story.
Oh, so you just got on. So there's a class in Long Island CW Club called Get on the Air, right? And everyone gets on Zoom, and you turn your radios to a certain frequency, and you call CQ, and then you see if people in the same class can hear you. Is that what I'm hearing? Okay.
That is correct. That is
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, that's a great way just to like, get your first contact or to just get familiar with sending on the air, right?
Yeah, that is correct. And at the same time, when I was taking what they have a class called BC1, so you learn your first, what is it, 8 characters? I forgot how many characters.
It's 16 characters,
16,
or
I
no,
don't know what,
18 characters in 6 weeks.
you see, I'm even cutting them. I forgot what I got you for that. So anyway, the thing is that the first, characters I learned them there. And at the same time I was taking BC guided practice lessons. I forgot exactly the name, but it's how to properly send over the air. So I really enjoy that class. So I would take the BC1 class and the other class, and that's where they would receive immediate feedback. Okay, you need more spacing, or
Yeah, that's a great,
correctly.
yeah.
So I really
That's good.
enjoy that, because they tell you right there. It's not like, okay, if I don't have that guidance, how am I gonna know if I send it correctly? Because maybe I hear it correctly, but really it was a disaster. So I really like that immediate feedback that I would receive.
Yeah, that's the BC sending class. And that's one of those things that a lot of people don't, like Liddy said, that instant feedback from an instructor saying, like she said, add a little more space, or maybe your DAWs are too short or whatever. That kind of stuff people don't get. And once you pick up bad habits, it's hard to unlearn them. So going to a class early on like that is huge, because you don't pick up all those bad habits. So she did good going to that.
Yeah, because I guess we concentrate a lot on copying, right? And we don't do a lot of strength training in sending, right?
We've
Yeah.
started. I mean, we've really started to push the sending thing. We're having students in BC1 send now. Like, we realized that was a weak point, so they're sending week 1 as soon as they can send. As soon as they got a key and an oscillator, we've got them sending. So
Yeah, I'm just, thinking through my journey on it was all about, oh, you got to copy, you copy. And I bet you I have copied, I mean, granted, ham radio is about listening, right? But I have copied more words and more letters than I have ever sent. I tell you the truth, my sending is horrible. Like there's I need a lot of practice in sending. My copying, I think, is, okay, but I have like you said, we don't send enough dits and das to practice, right?
I'm just gonna throw out something I tell my intermediate students. I don't allow them to do any sending from paper in class. Everything is head sent. And I tell my students that every day at 7 p.m., I have a reminder set on my phone. And at 7 p.m., my reminder goes off. I come upstairs to my rig, I turn it on, I turn break-in off, and I just head send about what I did today. I got up, I made some coffee, I took a shower, whatever, went to work. And I usually send 23, 24 words a minute. So I start at 23 words a minute, and then I work my way down 20, 16, 14, 12, and then I work back up 16, 20, 24, 28, 30. And I work up and down the speed range, because people get stuck in one speed too, right? You get that muscle memory, especially on paddles. You get to the point where you can only send at one speed. So I head send, and I head send at different speeds. And if you're trying to get your sending improved, work on those two things, because head sending is tough. It's hard to build words in your head and make the key make those noises. And it's hard to change speed. So those are the two things that I recommend my students. Every day at a set time, just sit down. What'd you do today? Send it and vary the speed.
That's a cool exercise.
Yeah. And so all right, so you think about what you did today, and then you send it in your head.
Yes, well, I'm sending. So I said, I can't, so I'm just thinking. And as I'm thinking, I'm just sending. So just like me talking to you, I'm just sending it on the key.
I
so
see.
Today I got up, I made coffee. I took a shower, I drove my kid to school. Like, I do all those kinds of things. So I'm sending in real time from my head to the key. I'm not writing anything down. It's just flowing from my brain to my hand to the key out of the radio. And that
breaking's off
is really hard. But the more you do it, the easier it gets. You'll find that when you first start doing it, your timing is going to be really tough. Your spacing is going to be really, really bad. You're going to have spaces mid words. By the time you get good at it, it just kind of flows. And it's one of those things that takes a lot of practice, but once you get good at it, it's not that bad. But it does take a lot of practice. And like I said, vary your speed, because people get so stuck, and I'm sending at one speed, right? I usually work, like I said, 23, 24, maybe 25 words a minute. If somebody calls me back at 12, I've got to be able to slow down and match them, right? So learn how to head send and learn how to head send at varying speeds.
Yeah, that's a good tip. Katie, did you guys send much in the youth? The kids, you do?
In the kids' classes, it's kind of the same thing. We start as soon as you have an oscillator, you start sending, and if you don't have an oscillator the first day of class, you'll just say it. It's like you'll say dot it instead of sending.
Yeah.
So possible.
Yeah. Yeah. Interesting.
That's what Chris NW6V calls vocalizing it. And when you vocalize it, you start to tap into that language center between your ears too, right? Great book, the CW Way of Life. I had somebody commented on earlier on that they've been enjoying that read.
Nice. So Lidi, so you took some CW classes, and then you were on the class that you get on the air, and everyone's on Zoom. But then when were you, obviously you got to a point where you were going to get on the air by yourself and call CQ. When was that? Did you activate a POTA? Did you just call CQ out of the blue? When was that in your journey?
Not too long after I made my first CQ, even though it was assisted.
Yep.
I continued doing a lot of SKCC because I had a script. It was easy for me to look, and we had the sketch page. But finally, I forgot the exact date when I started calling CQ. So I started calling CQ, but to tell you the truth, I was calling CQ. I was sweating, and I was like, I hope nobody answers.
Yeah.
Like, nobody comes back at me, but at the same time, I wanted to, because I was scared. Will I be able to copy the call sign? So someone replied to me. Someone came back, and he would have been my first unassisted QSO, but I lost him. I actually got it was N2YLO. N2YLO. He came back at me, but the Y got me. That Y, I had what is that character? What is that character? And by the time I was trying to figure it out, I was like, I guess either I lost him or I just stopped sending. I really freaked out, I really freaked out. And I'm like, then later, in the chat, I figured out it was N2YLO, and I say hey, but eventually I made contact with that, through POTA anyway. But then eventually I got I did it again, and let me take a big deep breath. I remember the other instructors would say W4EMB, Ed, take a deep breath and exhale. So I tried to relax, because when you're stressed, it's have this mental block and you don't hear anything.
Yep.
So it's best to try to relax. It's easier said than done. I know that, but it's one of those things that you just have to try it. And then I made my first contact. And it was a guy named Don from Arizona on 10 meters. And from there, I started just making more. That same week, the first time when I made that first unassisted QSO, I started making more, and since then I'm keep making more and more QSOs. But I wanted to actually learn how to copy call signs, random call signs, So I decided to activate POTA for the first time, which was in November of last year, during Thanksgiving week. And I was like, okay, the only way I'm going to be able to copy random call signs is by activating, because I couldn't really be a hunter. I wouldn't hear everybody. I go and, change the dial, and it's I don't hear this person, even though I see it on the POTA app.
Yeah.
I needed to be the one receiving and be on that stress and be on, I guess, I knew people will come and give me those random call signs. So that's why I started activating pretty much for me to practice my copying skills, at least call signs. So that's why I started doing the activations.
Yeah, yeah. Do you guys and gals jump in here if you got a question? Do you have? I'll ask this one, and then if you got some other questions here, and even in the chat, if you got some questions in the chat, we'll post them there. Do you? Whenever you were calling CQ, were you rag chewing, or were you just trying to make a contact and then say 73 and then move on to that next call sign before you were doing POTA, in between whenever you decided to get on the air and now whenever you're doing POTA?
Oh no rag chewing. I was not ready for
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
I was just ready for 599, 73 goodbye, but at least the feeling of the accomplishment that I did, it was bigger than wanting to have a rack shoot. I was not ready
Yeah.
to do that. Now I've been wanting to do that, but I'm not finding too many people who wants to do that. So it's one of those things because I'm trying to move on to kind of like the next step, I guess, just to increase my knowledge, I guess, in CW, if there's such thing. But yeah, I want to do that other rag chew part.
Schedule one up. I mean, like what Aaron Bowman's first rag chew ever was with me, and that was scheduled. Like, and that way you kind of get used to sort of the format. Have you been to gyms or any of the LICW QSO protocol classes?
Oh yes, I have, and that's not it's like it's when I get on the air, like I know the protocol, I even have it,
just trying to find somebody.
But it's calling, and then when I start like giving the weather, and I start giving them my rig, and I start giving them all this little information, and then I hear 73 goodbye.
Yeah.
I was like, hey, but honestly, I want to the other next level.
I found European stations are the most likely to come back with the full everything. Like a lot of like Eastern European stations, those guys will rag chew for 15 minutes if you want to. So they're a little fast, but there's a lot of them. But like I said, schedule one up. I mean, I'm more than willing to do it if you want, but that's kind of the easiest way a lot of times is to schedule one.
Yeah, I have certainly been known to be out calling, doing a POTA, and somebody comes back to me and they start telling me their rig and their antenna and the year that their dog was born and what food they feed. And I'm sure it's just this great big long story, but I'm doing POTA and I almost feel bad doing it, but I say, thank you, 73.
It's one thing if you're in a contest or doing POTA or SOTA, that's, now I'm calling CQ, just sitting there, CQ, POTA, and finally somebody comes back and they want to rag chew for a second, that's fine. But if I got to pile up, don't rag chew,
Yeah.
I totally agree. When I'm doing CQ POTA, it's just CQ POTA. I'm just doing my business. I'm doing that or SKCC, unless it's a rag chew SKCC that we schedule on the sked page, then we do it, but yeah, it's one of those things that I'm starting to move on to the rag chew part, but I'm still, working on my copying skills at a higher speed, but it's a never ending. It's fun. That's why I like it, because you never stop learning. And that's why I like, about CW. It's not like, it's not like the microphone. You just speak and that's it, but this requires skills that I really, really enjoy, increasing these skills that is like never ending.
Yeah. We did a stream, I don't know, a couple of months ago, maybe it was longer, where we talked about this thing called the 13 word per minute hump. And everyone talks about this place. I don't even know where it's at. Does it exist? Does it not exist? And we went through all the motions of trying to figure out, all right, is this thing just a mind game, or does this thing actually exist? And so I guess my question to you is, did you get to a plateau in your journey where you just couldn't get past a certain speed? And if you did, how did was there a remedy that you had to get past that speed, or did you just kind of skyrocket to the speed that you're now, and there was no there was no block there?
Well, when I started, I guess I was like 10 words per minute. I'm not sure, but
Yeah.
really slow. And little by little, you kind of like start increasing speed without
Yep.
even realizing it. But it's the copying skills. And that's when, you know, other YLs, they recommended me, hey, you know, do this or do that, you know, join here, join there, you know, just to have more coaches, you know, to help you, I guess, achieve, I guess, higher speeds. Not that I can copy at a higher speed. So it was one of those things, just like Evan has mentioned, you know, just practice at a higher speed and then slow down, you know, like I started practicing, and part of the course I had to take like maybe 35 words per minute. And then I was able to finally hear the characters at 25 words per minute, like, oh, you know, a lot slower, I guess. Not that I still need a little bit of Fansworth, minding you. It's not like I can
Yeah.
really copy, like I've seen these other people, you know, which is fantastic. But now I'm able at least to hear the characters at 25, even 30 words. But 30 words is really pushing it, really.
Yeah.
Have to really 25, I'm able to hear it now. When they come back at me, you know, like copying the call signs, I'm able to copy them. But give me a tiny little bit, you know, of space, and then I'll able to do it, you know. If not, I'm gonna have to ask for repeat. But it's one of those things that I had to practice at a higher speed for me to be able to slow down. I don't know, it's weird. You have to speed it up and then slow it down, and then it's up and down, but at a higher speed. You can really stay, like Evan said earlier, you can stay stuck at the practicing at the 16 words per minute all the time. You have to pump it up for you to actually then able to hear it. Oh, now I hear the character better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Contesting is one of those events, the things that you can do to improve your speed, because you know some of these contesters, they go at 30 words a minute, which is fine. It's just the way that it is. But I always get frustrated where I want to work, you know, even a North American you know, QSO party or whatnot, and they're going 30 words a minute and I'm sending at 22 or 25. But I always notice that if you put your butt in the seat and you start copying, your speed goes up as you get deeper into the contest, right? So there was many contests that I would start at 22, 24 words a minute, and by the end, I was up to 27 to 28 words per minute. And I was amazed that I was copying that fast. But then the bad part is you don't do CW for a couple of weeks, and you're back down to, you know, the low 20s. But it's amazing how, like you said, Lidi, how once you get into the rhythm and you start hearing those dits and those das, and you're copying words as head copy, it becomes easier as you relax and you start to like just listen to the rhythm versus like trying to figure out, okay, was that a C or was that a K? You know, you have to relax and you have to just get into that mode of listening. And then as you get into that mode, your copy speed goes up, and before you know it, you're copying with the people that are sending 30 words a minute, and you're like, oh my gosh, I just copied that call sign at 30 words a minute. But then you can't think about it anymore, because then that, you know, knocks you back down and you get off, you know, it's like, oh my gosh, I did that, you know. But it's amazing how you can get to that speed if you put your mind to it, you relax, and dedicate some time to it.
You know, one of the funny things about that is, you know, if you normally work at a more moderate speed and you run a contest or a field day or something where you're running 30, 32 words a minute all day, when you hear 20 words a minute again, it sounds like molasses.
Yeah. I mean, field day is coming up, right? Field day is the greatest day in amateur radio, right? And this field day will be a great way for CW operators to get on and make some contacts. You know, it is,
For sure.
I know that, you know, it is a contest. It's not a contest. Oh, it's a club event. Oh, it's an eating
who
event.
cares?
Who cares? It's whatever you want to make of it, right? And if you want to get on at your club station and send it 20 words a minute and start bumping up that knob to 22 and then 24, that is the greatest weekend to do that. Because there's so many stations on the air and there's so many things going on that this is the best weekend to do that.
I want to plug real quick the community edition of Morse Runner, because there is a ARRL field day exchange option, so you can practice in there as well, even if it's not field day.
So Tim, when are you going to do a Wednesday stream on that thing?
When I get my head above water.
Hey, put a link to that in the chat though, buddy.
Yeah, put a link.
See if I can find it. Yeah,
that'd be great. Lidi, you overcame key fright very quickly, but I'm sure, and everybody goes through key fright very differently, right? As we hear from so many experts in CW, just get on the air, just get on the air. But we all have spoken to people who said, yeah, I'm not ready. And what they're really saying is, well, what I think they're really saying, because what I said was, I think I'm just scared. I'm sure you went through that too. What did you use to get over that, to get past that initial fright before you used a key for the first time?
I think the battle is with yourself. Honestly, it's really you.
Sure.
It's us. You know, you have to fight with yourself. Even though someone can hold your hand, hey, you can do it. Let's do this. But it's a battle within you. You know, you have to do it. You know, it's just like when I was learning how to speak English. You know, I'm from Puerto Rico and my native language is Spanish, and I went through the same thing. You have to do it. That battle is with you. Nobody else. So once you fight your own battle and you believe like you have to do this and you talk to yourself, it's like self-therapy, so to speak, you know, you have to do it. You have to do it. And it's a constant battle, you know, because it's you are battling with yourself. So I said to myself, I have to do it, and just close my eyes and just go ahead. And I did it. Yet, you know, like I said, it's easier said than done, but it's a battle, a constant battle that you have with yourself. Even I have never participated in contests. So I did the WPX back in May. Yeah.
It's May.
Yeah. And of course, I was really, really scared to make my first CQ because it's really fast. And the same thing, again, the battle was with me, you know, and okay, let me just throw the CQ. Nobody comes back at me because I'm too slow. I'm just sending 25. Okay, so be it. And I only got 7 contacts on Sunday. Couldn't get on more people. I was too busy with the kids and my family. So 7 was like a big accomplishment for me, because I'm very busy with my kids anyway, especially during the weekends. And I say that is a battle with yourself, with nobody else. Even though someone can tell you, go ahead, get on the air, you know your characters, and you're still scared. It's just you have to work, you know, with yourself. You have to just remove that mental block for you to just get there.
So let me ask you the follow-up question then. If you're anything like me, and not to suggest you are, you were probably frightened more than once to get on the air. You were frightened the first day you got on the air, and maybe the second, and maybe the third. What made you realize you were no longer frightened?
Well, I can say, hey, last month I was still scared just to join that WPX because it was at a higher speed. And because it's a higher speed, I was scared at the real contesters, that they actually are super fast. So I got like that key fright, like, you know, I need to do it, you know. So it's like, I guess it depends in the situation. Like in my situation was a month ago, I still got that, okay, like, well, I have to do it. But when I started believing in myself, like, yes, I know my characters, I know how to copy. And hey, there's always ask again, a question mark. And that's something that I use a lot. And when I learned how to use it and people will just come back at me, then with their call sign or whatever it is that they're telling me, then I was more relaxed and I stopped being scared. I just learned how to use the tools that we all have by sending again, question mark, QSB. There's real QSB. At the beginning, maybe people will say QSB, goodbye. I didn't hear you. But no, in reality, just ask again and question mark. But yes, not too long ago, I had that same fear, but it was because of a different scenario of the contest. It was my first time.
Well, I think that's one of the things is anything that takes you out of your comfort zone is going to cause key fright again, right?
Yes.
So people
Yes.
get used to hunting POTA. When you go to activate for the first time, you're going to have key fright. If you do a lot of POTA the first time you have a rag chew, or the second time even, you're going to have key fright. The first time you hop into a contest at 30 words a minute, you're going to have key fright. When somebody comes back to me at 35 words a minute, I get key fright and I have to go, okay, I can do this. I liken it to ripping a Band-Aid off. Just rip it off and go. Don't peel it off real slow because it's going to hurt. Just rip the sucker off and send. But yeah, I mean, anything that takes you out of your comfort zone is going to do that. That's why I always recommend people practice outside their comfort zone, because if you get used to pushing yourself out of that comfort zone, you can make it past those hurdles.
If you get used to pushing yourself out of that comfort zone, thank you, Evan, for saying it. Those are absolutely key words. And, we've been talking about screwing with the speed on our sending, wind it up to 30 and try sending your call sign. That feels awful, doesn't it? Try to do that for 3 or 4 minutes. Yeah, we're all shaking our heads. Try to do that for 3 or 4 minutes, then turn it back down to where your comfort zone is. And damn, you're going to send it 100% of the time because you've pushed yourself outside of that. And you've now learned to do it way better within your comfort zone. Don says it's almost like the nerves before the game. Other comments here. After my first CW POTA, I felt like I did an hour's worth of cardio in 5 minutes.
Yeah.
You'll survive. I have key fright until I spot myself and start calling CQ. Once that happens, I'm too busy. So I think it's a matter, as Patrick says here, not being a big thinker may work in my favor. So Patrick, thank you for that humorous look at it. But what that tells me is not overthinking it is really a winning strategy, right?
I think another thing to think about too is I think everyone thinks that the other person on the other side of the QSO is thinking badly of them. And what you don't really realize is, if somebody sends a question mark or again or whatever, I'm not thinking that they can't copy CW. I'm thinking there's a propagation thing. They've got static. They've got a nearby signal they can't copy. And I also have the same thing. I do a lot of mobile CW. So I'm in the car doing CW, and I'll be in the middle of a rag chew, and 294 in Chicago starts to go from north south to east west, and that person will be like by 579, and then I'm like, oh no, I'm still in the queue, so I'm gonna start turning east here pretty soon, and they drop down into the noise, and I could barely even hear them. So it's kind of tough to copy them. But even in the contest, I mean, there's QRM like crazy, and doing another copy. So don't think that sending a question mark or again or whatever is a reflection on your skill. It could be anything, right?
Oh hell, and we're all worried about being worse than the other person, I think, right? The other person's better than me. The other person is going to think ill of me. Well, guess what? They're not. And they're going to make mistakes just like you are. They put their pants on one leg at a time, just like you do, right? So at the end of the day, don't overthink it. Just get on the air.
Yeah. Yep. Liddy, do you ever have days where you can't copy anything?
Oh, yes. I remember this activation, this POTA activation. I was ready. I threw my antenna over the tree and I got everything set up and I'm ready. And then the first person that I got, it was a DX. I can't remember from what country. And obviously, I'm already kind of like, waiting for a K or a W, like more N or A, right?
Yep.
And I got something out of this world, in my opinion. Like, oh my God, what is this? And then I got other DX. I was on 15 meters and I was like, oh no. the thing is that I record my QSOs so I can later on and hear them just in case I missed something, and just to reconfirm that I got the correct call sign. And I remember it was like such a bad copying day for me. But eventually, when I listened back to my video, recording stick, well, I record them and I use a recording stick as well. I was like, oh my God, how could I didn't hear this. I didn't hear it. I just couldn't believe it, but I was stressed again.
Yeah.
And so yes, I have them all the time, but I have very good days too. So I have both, but it's lately more good days than bad days. And yes, it's normal, especially if I'm too stressed or something going on in my personal life, the kids, I'm busy here, so it might be a little bit more, but for whatever reason, CW helps me distress, if there's such a thing like that, but it helps me to distress. So I guess that's why I really enjoy it, because it helps me to distress. Yes, for some people, they might not find it, like a distressful exercise, but it does to me.
Yeah. Put Josh's comment back up there, Vince.
Yeah, Josh, major social media influencer here, reminding us all that just know after you complete the contact, you can always have a good cry. So yeah, the time to do that is not when you're on the air, ladies and gentlemen. Thanks, Josh. We appreciate it. Love you, buddy.
There's been a few POTUS that I sat in my truck and just shook my head. It was just like, why am I even here? Why did I just do this? But like Lidi, you said, there's days where and I'm sure everyone in the chat here on the panel, that there's no crying in CW. Good old Tom Hanks. That, it's like therapy, right? You go out and you make a couple dozen contacts, or however many contacts you make, and you feel accomplished, and you've gotten, I remember I was at the Arch and I was using the AX1 with a KX3, and I was just sitting on the grounds there at the Arch in St. Louis, and I got Christian F4W. What is Christian?
WBN.
BN.
Yeah, WBN. So
I won't do the accent.
So he's in France, and then the next contact I got was Eric from Hawaii on 5 watts on a AX1 antenna. I could not do that on single sideband. I could only do that on CW with 5 watts. And and I got it all on stream, and it was such a thrill. That's one of the best days. And I was having a good copy day, and it was just a good day altogether. And it was great. I remember that day like it was yesterday. And it's whenever things come together and you have one of those days, and especially, whenever CW is involved, it's a good day.
Yep, for sure. Well, this has been very enlightening, Lidi. We're delighted you've come along to join us. I would dare say you'd be welcome back anytime, but
I think so.
Thank you for the invite.
Any advice that you want to give to new CW operators out there that might be on your mind?
I think everybody has really pitched in, and besides getting on the air, just do it. Just do it. Just do it. Just, get a support group. Like I joined LICW, for example, in my case, and I have found so many other instructors, other people, who encourage each other to do this. That's why, you may see me in Discord, because it's really nice to have that support. And I found the CW community has such great support than, I guess, high band. I'm not sure. When I first got my license, I didn't get that same support that I got when I joined the CW world, and just find some support, find a community, even SKCC, you join them even through the SCED page, and find a support group that will help you in your CW journey and make it more fun it's better more people joining you than just by yourself. There's so many other resources that you can join so you can make this journey more pleasant.
Yeah, that is so important. I mean, there is so many supporting people and support groups and your community. You have to find your community, right? And once you find your community, then it all clicks, right? I mean, this is why we do the CW Ops Roundtable here. We all like CW, and it's a community of people in the chat, the people here on the roundtable. This is what why we get together every 2 weeks is to talk and to have that support group.
One of the cool things about CW is it's such a small group that everybody I've never met anybody in CW who I was just like, man, I don't like this guy. Like everybody's super nice. Everybody's super encouraging. Everybody wants to help you get on the air. It's not the whole community of CW is vastly different than ham radio in general. So I think a lot of people get turned off by some of the stuff they hear on single sideband, whatnot, or they read, God forbid, the QRZ forums. And then you join a CW group and it's a totally different ballgame. So I think that helps a lot.
Yeah. And even if you meet those people that are talk bad about any part of the hobby or talk bad about people in general in the ham radio community, they are the few and far between, right? Don't let their opinions form any opinions that you have. Find out for yourself. It's you do you, and they will do them, and hopefully the good people will rise, and the bad people that name call and just want to disturb, they'll float down into the ether, and nobody will listen to them. So it's a great community. The explosion of Discord and all of the people on Discord and the support groups and the YouTube channels and the pod activations and all of that stuff has been amazing for CW and ham radio in general. It is hopefully getting more people involved, and your videos, Lidi, on getting out and showing your activations and showing you getting on the air. That's what we need to show people that it's fun to get on the air, and people want to say, oh, I want to be like Lidi. I want to do exactly what she does. And that gets them motivated to do the things that you are doing.
I was always searching for, CW videos, and I will always find great videos, including Evans, and Aaron and, and so many others.
Thomas.
And Ed, actually, and Thomas
Ed
as well,
Yeah.
But then I was actually looking for a YL, like someone that I can relate to, and I couldn't, I would find some YLs, but on sideband. And so I was like, okay, well, why can't I find someone in CW? And there are many fantastic CW operators in our club, that we have. And I wish I could have their copying skills as well, but they're wonderful. I just couldn't find anything on YouTube. Not that I have anything great on my YouTube channel, but I was looking for someone, that I could relate with, so hopefully I will find more YLs, activating. And that's why I got really excited when Chantel, Ed's wife, from YouTube, and I get to see her. So, we chat sometimes, like, it's great. I really enjoy seeing another YL activating on CW.
Yep, Ed and Chantel are going to be on the stream, I think, next month. So we're going to have them on to talk about their journey, and it could be a good stream. So yeah, you're right. We need more YLs in ham radio. We need more YLs doing CW. We need more YLs in the hobby. I agree. Totally agree.
There was a YL soda event, I think last weekend, maybe 2 weekends ago.
Yeah, 2 weekends.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, was that did Charlie's wife, Sandy, got involved, right? She was on top of a mountain calling CQ, right?
Yeah, so they had a special event call signs for it, and Amy AG7GP was the main organizer, and I wish I knew more details off the top of my head. But yeah, it was to encourage YLs to get out, do summits on the air, and there was a few more Morse code activators
Gotcha.
doing it as well.
Cool. Well, if you're watching and you are a YL and want to get involved with CW or CW, Lydia, are you good on QRZ? Are you is your information good
Yes,
there?
it's up to date. Yes, it
Okay.
is.
Send Lydia an email. Shout out to her. Say hello. Say that you're out there. And or put something in the chat. Say hello in the chat that you're a YL and CW. It'd be awesome to recognize you guys here on the stream. But yeah.
And build community. As somebody said, CW is a friendly, family-like community.
Yeah. I have met some of the best friends that I have through ham radio. So they are lifelong friends that I will always have something in common with them, no matter what it is. It will always come back to ham radio.
Even if they tell you you can cry after your activation.
I don't know. Some of them I might say I need a good cry, and they'll be just like, you need to go to the other room.
Yeah, there we go. Jim N4JAW has just posted in Becky's YouTube. Says Becky should do a YouTube ham radio duo. That sounds like a great idea.
That is a great idea. Yes. Maybe you guys should, do a... Oh, and Ed's here too. All right.
Ed's here. You bet.
Very cool. All right. Well, very good. I think we're going to wrap it up. To anybody, Letty, do you have any parting thoughts that you want to share with us?
Well, thank you for the invite. That definitely be looking forward to hear from any other YLs. If it's Becky N4BKY, she's impressed me with how fast she got on the air. Really, really fast. Talk about being fast and got licensed and got on the air really fast. So I was really impressed. She had sent me an email, and I really enjoy receiving those emails from other YLs because I feel that we're not alone in this journey and the CW journey. So definitely get on the air, and the battle is with you. So just don't worry about it. Just get on the air. Don't worry how many mistakes you're gonna make. Just ask for, again, question mark. People are going to come back to you, and the CW community join that community that will just give you more support. And I really, really enjoy LICW, but there are so many other communities that you can join that can give you that support.
Yeah, very good. Well, guys, I was going to ask you guys if you wanted a final, but Letty said it all. I don't think we have any more else to say on this stream. So, thank you, Liddy. I appreciate it. Thanks for being on the stream. And go subscribe to her YouTube channel. Link is in the chat and also in the description below. And we will be back next Monday with a new CW Operators Roundtable. Thanks, everyone. 73.